know. All right, so last time we talked about, I finished writing this copy file to external, and we're going to finish up emailing this file as an attachment using the intent system in Android. So we have to create an intent to use an external email system, and we have to pass the message and the file to this external system for them to be able to send it out using their existing mail system. So it's a lot easier to use that than to set up your own SMTP server and things like that. So this actually returns a file. So I'm going to say file or attachment is going to be returned from this copy file to external method that we wrote yesterday or last time. Then we have to create an intent. So we create an intent. We say this is going to be a final intent, email intent. We'll call it equals a new intent. And where you want to call one of the built-in intents called action send. It messed up my whole thing there. All right, intent.action send. So that's telling whichever application on this Android device is intercepting sending this action, then they will get this intent message. Okay, so we're passing off information to another application on the device, whoever the user has chosen to be the default for this particular activity. Does that make sense? All right. Say yes, Dave. That makes sense. All right. So now that we have an intent, we can set some of this information. We need to set the type of the email to be plain text. Now, we could make this HTML, right? You can send an HTML email as well, but I'm not going to. Too fancy. We don't do that stuff. Then we're going to put some extra information into this intent. What the heck was that? And we want to put it using another one of these intent devices. Yeah, I got a missing period here. So that's the key, and what we want to put into it is the actual email address. Okay, so we need to create a string array to hold this. And it's going to be the email string that I created up above. All right, it has to be in this format, this string array. So it's going to convert this email string here into a string array instead. All right. Pardon me? Yeah. You can move this wherever you want. I mean, ideally, this is my on-click for that button. I mean, I could make this into another method and put it in my base activity if I wanted to. Sure. Why don't you do that? That'd be great. Yes. I just put it there because I thought it would be useful. You could put it in your preferences page as well, but wherever the user, it makes sense for the user.
Yeah, that's one thing I don't like. If you want a function attached to a button that's not in that file, you have to have a list.
Right. All right, we're going to put in the subject Now, why do you think this email here is a string array? You could, right. I could have multiple email addresses in here as opposed to the subject. You only have one subject for your email, right? Okay, good. And then we need to send the intent extra stream. And for that, we want to pass in. Oh, I forgot something up here. We want to pass in path, which I'll define here in a second. So this file, we have to have a URI, Universal Resource Indicator path. And so we create that by creating this variable called URI type, and we're going to call it path. And we can then call the URI class from file, and we pass it my attachment. So that creates a URI that the email intent can read from and attach to the email itself as an attachment. And so that's what this is doing here, passing in this path, this URI that I created from here. Yes?
Little side question.
Yep.
Since we're using an array to put in the email addresses, how would you do that? You just comma delimit it, or if you
Oh, here? Yeah, I could do it like this. Email to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just like that. Okay.
Excuse me. Nothing like sneezing into your ear there. On this one? Oh, I don't know.
It does not give me an error.
Yeah, it doesn't mind it. So then I need to put in the actual message itself. Well, I've got this copied now. We'll call it extra. Now these are built-in values for the intent. These are defined by the Android SDK. And we want to pass in the actual message of my email. All right, so I've created my email. And then the last thing I want to do is actually do the email sending. So I'm going to call start activity for result. And what this does is that it lets me call another function after this is done, like a callback function, so that I can delete that temporary file on the SD card. That's the one thing I have to do. Otherwise, I'd have a bunch of these temporary files out there every time I sent an email. So I have to have a way of using this callback. And so this start activity for result, I'm going to create a new method called create chooser. And this is the callback that's going to happen when the email actually gets sent successfully. And I can pass it a code, and I came up with my own code called 4242. And so this information will get passed to a method that I'm going to override here in a second. And I can know that it came from my email function, so I can use that code to check it and delete that file. But this is, so basically all I did was create my email. This message, I could have it come from a text box if I wanted to. I hard-coded it. The attachment comes from the SD card after copying the wait log to it. And then I create the intent and all of the extra information I need for the intent. And then I start the activity. All right, so that's my email intent that's going to get started. All right, now in order for this to to work, my callback, I need to have my callback in here. So we're going to call this on activity result. And it takes several parameters. It takes the request code, the result code, and the intent data. That's all the information I can get when this activity finishes. This method will get called here. And I'm going to call the super on activity result. And I'm going to pass it all the stuff that came to me. I'm going to pass the request code and the result code and the data. And then if the request code, is 4242, which is my number that I used up here, those have to be the same. If that is the case, then I need to delete that file. Then I can say file, get a pointer to the file that's out there. And it's basically the same information that I did in the base activity, this whole external file name, folder name structure. So I'm going to get the folder name, and I'm going to add the file name to that. So that is the file name on the SD card. Basically, that's getting me a pointer to that. And then I just have to call the delete function on the file. All right, so when the email activity executes successfully, this onActivityResult method will get called, and if it was my method, then I'm going to delete the file on the external card. All right, any questions on that? Isn't that fun? A lot of code to just send a little email. But this sends an attachment too, which is kind of nice. So let's go and do this.
So that is called automatic.
It's called.
It's the callback function.
It's called automatically because I called the start activity for result. So this is actually an overrided method. Yes. It has to be called this. That's what gets called for the activity for result. It's like an on-click. Okay? All right. Let's see if it works. Now, while this is running over here, on your Android virtual device, you have to set up your email system with a valid email account. So there is this is going to start here before I get to it. Oh, we'll wait. Okay, so if I go to the applications, there's an email system in here. You need to set that up with the accounts and make it a valid email address. So I have this email address called dave@jonestribe.com. So that's who the email is going to be sent from. So the doctor is going to get an email from this account because it's using this built-in email program, right? This is the intent that's going to get called, and it's going to do the send of the message. Does that make sense? So that has to be valid and actually has to get some email here. So hopefully it will actually show up in my sent email here as well. So let's run this. Oh, you got to be kidding me. You've got to be kidding me. Inconsistent certificates. All right, let me. All right, so what I did to fix the certificate problem was to uninstall the old version that was on my virtual device here and let it reinstall it. So now I've got my new one here, and I could go to my weight logger, and I have no weight chart because it's disabled. Remember, we did that a long time ago. So I'm going to add in that I'm 1,320 pounds, and then yesterday I was only 130 pounds. So now my chart should only have 2 values. I ate a lot last night. It was pretty good. So we're going to email the doctor and see if this actually emails something. File too large to attach. Ah, nice. So we got an error here. My weight is too big. But it started. It put in the from. The to was from my email here. The to here. The subject is Dave Jones weight log, which was this string message here. The actual message was Dr. Heavy /n. Here's my weight log for you to peruse /n. So you see I got 2 character returns here, and I signed it Dave. And then the only thing that didn't work was the attachment. So it brought up the email program, and the attachment should have been here, and then I can click on send, and it sends off the email. So let's go. In my email, there it is as a sent message. So that one actually got sent off. And it should have worked. Let's make sure it worked all the way out to see how I can get my Microsoft email here. Problem is it goes through, there it is. All right, it goes through 2 servers to get to Gmail. So there we go. So there it is. My whole email sent completely correctly except for the attachment. So that's pretty good. At least we got an email out there, right? 4 out of 5 is not bad. So let's go back and see what happened with the attachment. Now, the one thing I did differently was that I used this file from my copy to external, so that might be an error. So let me do it differently here. The way I actually did it, I was trying to be smart. So let's do this and create a new file. Pointer to the environment, get external storage directory plus ext folder name plus file name, and then do this same URI system here. So it's likely that my, oh, that was not good. It's likely that my copy file to external return value is not correct. So I'll go look at that later. So let's run this again. And this should be right because that's exactly the same thing that I do to delete the file over here. So it should be correct. Come on. There we go. All right, so we go to our weight logger. I say email log to doctor. File too large, nice. So it still failed.
Well, because it's still the
It
same file.
shouldn't be. I know, but it's still a valid file. Yeah, I don't think so. So let's go see if I can get into.
Are you running as an admin?
Well, I am an admin. Let's see if it works. So I'm going to pause it until this monitor. All right, so we found the file was actually there. It's only 48 bytes, so that's not the problem. So let's go and debug this, and it's likely my copy file to external, although this worked on my Mac. Of course, everything works on a Mac. It's just the way it goes. This is a PC right here. See this start window? PC. I'm on a PC. All right, email to doctor, copy file to external, good. We'll go into that method. .49 bytes, so it copies 49 bytes, closes the file. So that's my path name. See, storage emulated 0 health app. The health app was what I added in the file name. And then my file name is weight log CSV, which is correct. So if file exists, it does exist, so file is valid.
Are you returning file twice?
No. It would only return once ever. So this file is,
What's that?
yeah. It's got a path, so that path looks correct. Storage emulated weight log CSV, so that's all correct. So we'll step over that guy. So now, and I'm never using that anyway. So then I go and get a pointer to that same file name. So let's see if that, let me stop this, make sure I don't step over it. All right, so now my file is attachment, storage emulated 0 health app weight log CSV, so that's all correct. My URI is this path called path, file // which is correct, storage emulated 0 health weight, so that's all correct. That's a file URL, URI. Now the only thing that is different, what? No. Yeah, I told you that's my made up code. You call it whatever you want. I could call it Ryan in hex and it would work. All right, so I'm going to stop this. The only thing I see as I'm going through the code, everything else, let's continue on. Let's see. So it's putting all the intents in here. Let's stop it here. And my file is still valid, still the same one. All right, so I'm going to stop this. I changed one thing, and it was this. And in my code that I have on my Mac, I didn't actually have that. Mine's just was intent.extra stream. So I'm curious if that's the problem here. So let's run it. Well, that looks promising, doesn't it? So let's go ahead and send it.
Where would it show the attachment
it depends on the email. So let's see if it actually attached it. Let's send it, and then let's go to my it takes a little second, so let me pause this. All right, so
New. And how about attachments? Attachments. So now it didn't even try attaching it.
so this is the new one here. I don't see an attachment. So it doesn't look like that worked. That's good. No wonder. I did that on purpose, but it didn't throw the error. It's almost like, I'm curious.
I didn't fail 100 times, I learned 100 ways how
That's
not to.
right. That's exactly right. So I don't know. It's almost like,
Well, see, data was null.
no, I had that one. No, this one.
134.
So I fixed that. That fixed the error. But why
But it didn't attach.
didn't seem to attach? No. All right. So I'm going to pause. So just to show some debugging here, I took out this delete, and it actually did send now the mail. Let's delete these. Almost. All right, so here's the last one, and it does actually have the attachment. There we go. View attachments. So I can download the attachment. Where'd it go? Did it not download? There it goes. Holy cow, that was slow. So there's my weight log. So that's all correct. So the problem is that for some reason this is getting called too fast. It's deleting the file before the email intent is finished. So that didn't happen on my home computer, of course. So I'll have to figure that out. But that gives you at least a start. I'll see if I can figure that out. All right, any other questions besides that one? That's what that's supposed to do. I mean, that's at the end. I delete the file. So.
Or on pause.
Oh, yeah, I could do something like that.